Hey guys, you're watching Keeping It Real with Vasavi, where I keep it real all day, every day, even when I don't want to. And I'm so excited today because I'm talking to Kate Northrup, okay? And we're talking about something that I know many of you sometimes get a little weird about. A lot of times we're raised with we can't talk about this, or it's rude to talk about this, and let's just keep it hush hush. And what I'm talking about here is money, right? And so Kate and I are really just gonna have an off-the-cuff conversation really about her journey with money and how she works with people, and just share with you guys what it really means to be financially free in your life, regardless of what age you're at, how old you are, what kind of debt what kind of debt you have. We've all had debt. I've just got out of debt, so let's just, raise the. Oh my God, Kate, I can't even wait to tell you about that. But I wanna definitely introduce Kate because she has a great life experience, and I think more than anything, more than any sort of certification or formal training, what I respect most with people is when they've actually gone through it, when they've actually fallen on their face and they've been able to get back up. And so I love that about Kate because she has fallen on her face when it comes to money, and she has no problem sharing that and using that experience to help other people. So Kate is a professional freedom seeker and creative entrepreneur. She created financial freedom for herself at the age of 28 through building a team of more than 3,000 wellness entrepreneurs in the network marketing industry, which we'll talk more about later. Her philosophy is really simple, and simple and powerful, that if you free yourself financially, you can be fully present to your purpose on the planet. And she's committed to empowering as many people as possible to have the ultimate luxury in life, which is choice, the ability to choose the kind of life that you want, where you want to live, how you want to live. And Kate has spoken to audiences of thousands with Hay House, Wanderlust, USANA, right, Kate? Am I saying that right? USANA. I actually know somebody who works with USANA Health Sciences, and more. And I'm really excited about this. I'll be interviewing her again in a few months to introduce her new book that she's writing, that's actually probably already written, called Money, A Love Story, Untangling Your Financial Woes, Creating the Life That You Really Want, and Living Your Purpose, which is going to be published through Hay House, coming out in September of this year. And this is what she does. She continues to mentor entrepreneurs through her network marketing team, the Freedom Family. And if you guys want to learn more about Kate, just go over to her website at katenorthrup.com. That's Kate with the K, and Northrup, NORTHRUP.com, where she has this great free quiz about where you can learn more about your relationship with money and what it says about you. So thank you so much, Kate, for being here today.
You're so welcome. Thanks for that great introduction.
Listen, man, you earned your stripes. You've gone through a lot in your life. And guys, I was just telling Kate, just pulling up my questions here. We both grew up we have a very similar childhood. Kate, your parents were doctors. Are doctors. And so you saw them at a very young age having financial freedom. And so as a kid, what did that do for you? Having your parents have financial freedom?
Well, so I actually wouldn't consider that my parents had financial freedom.
Okay.
They very much traded hours for dollars.
Mm.
As a physician, you show up, you get paid for that hour you work, or the procedure, or when insurance is finally billed and all that stuff. So my parents actually were not financially free. In fact, I felt that they were fairly trapped. So this is a really, really important distinction. I grew up with plenty of money. We had financial abundance. We did not have financial freedom. So to me, financial freedom is when your passive or residual income is greater than your living expenses. At that point, you have financial freedom, and that's the type of income that comes in whether you work or not, that you've set up systems to have that happen. And so when you have financial freedom, you actually have time freedom. And so I saw that neither of my parents had time freedom. Now both of them do, but they're in their 60s, so it's a different period of life. They didn't have time freedom when I was growing up. And though they were amazing parents, they showed up at all the soccer games and all the school plays and all that stuff. At the end of the day, they were really, my mom said until very recently, she just has felt like she's working like she had a gun to her head. And partially that's, a cultural assumption that the harder you work, the better a person you are. Partially it's the medical field, whatever. There's a lot of stuff. But I just knew, what? I really want to be home with my kids. Like, I just know that. I'm very clear on that. And I don't want to be feeling like every single moment spent rolling around on the floor with them building a pillow fort is like a billable hour that I should have been doing this other thing. And yesterday I actually had the opportunity to babysit one of my friend's little boys, and we were hanging out for like an hour and a half, and I just can't even tell you how relaxing it was to like have my phone completely not with me and just to watch him literally do laps around the driveway.
And be a kid and actually just watch him being a kid.
Yeah, and that was it. Like I wasn't thinking about anything else that I was supposed to be doing or whatever, and I'm so looking forward to that. Um, and that's why I created financial freedom, was being able to say to my friend when she's got to take her baby to the doctor, hey, why don't I watch Jack for an hour and a half so you can just go be with the baby, and at the doctor and be there with him. And to me, that's what's important. Like, you can have a Porsche or whatever if you want. You can wear Manolo Blahniks. But to me, it's like, yeah, I'd rather just sit in the lawn, with a 2-year-old.
Well, I really love, first of all, thank you for clearing that up. I love how you said that they were exchanging hours for dollars, because my mom's a cardiologist, and so she was not there for all the soccer games or my softball games. And, I just remember knowing from a very young age, I never want to be a doctor, right? It's a very Indian thing to go and be a doctor. My sister's a doctor. And I just said, you know what? All the money in the world is not going to make a difference if I don't have the time. For me, so I love the distinction between financial abundance and financial freedom. And so for you, it sounds like in your life, not only have you created the financial abundance, but you've also created the financial freedom, and the freedom here being the time to go say to your friend, hey, I can go watch your son for an hour and a half. So I know all my viewers are thinking, how the hell did she create financial freedom at the age of 28? How'd you do that, Kate?
So I've built a team in the network marketing industry. So for those of you who aren't familiar, the network marketing industry is when it's just a distribution model. So it's when a company manufactures a product and then they pay the consumer to spread the word. So it's just like referral marketing. So I have a team of about 150 core people, but 3,000 total of people who I work with, who we recommend a line of products called USANA, and it's the highest quality pharmaceutical grade nutritionals you can find. And so together we build teams and we have customers, and it's a virtual business. It's very online and all of that. And so that's how I did it, because there's a couple of ways that you can create financial freedom. The way I've chosen is not the only way, but you want to look at ways to create residual income. So for me, network marketing in the health industry made sense, because I was raised by 2 doctors. Health has been a part of my life. I know a lot about it. I'm really comfortable in that world. I'm super passionate about it. So I wanted to partner with a company that was doing something in that general direction. Other people, they invest in real estate and have rental properties that pay them every month. Other people create more of a traditional business that's a system that works whether they're working or not. Some people decide to go into franchising. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do it, but network marketing for me was an obvious choice, because when I started, I was 18. I had no skills. I had no clout. I didn't know anything about anything.
Yeah.
Money to invest, because I was 18. And I couldn't start a business that was like the typical business, which costs tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands to start. So that's why it worked for me, and that's why I love the industry.
So, okay, when you talk about, I know, guys, if you go over to Kate's website, once again at katenorthrup.com, she shares her story. And Kate, I love how openly you share about the fact that you were in massive credit card debt, as most of this country's in. My dad always raised me with paying with cash, because he said then you can feel the pain of paying with the cash versus, oh, I'll just swipe this and I'll worry about it later. It really is the Western mentality, instant gratification. And when we look at this concept of wealth, right, people wonder, how do you become wealthy? People who are wealthy are not thinking about right now, they're thinking long term. And so there is this mentality of save more, spend less. It's a lot easier to make money, I believe, than it is to save money. So it really is. So I know many people are in debt, okay? And it's almost become a lifestyle, right? To be in debt. Oh, I'll worry about it later. What are some tips that you have regardless of what age you're at, what age you're in, most of my viewers are anywhere between mid-20s to mid-30s, entrepreneurs. How do you get out of debt? It seems like this mystical concept, but how did you do it, and what are your recommendations?
So number one, you have to start by being honest with yourself.
Great.
Actually totaling up the amounts that you owe and to whom and by when and what your APRs are.
Yes.
Get a chart, write it down on a piece of paper, get a spreadsheet, whatever you want to do, because so many of us, and myself included, I'm a recovering avoider. So I just, I just would put my credit card bills in a drawer and not open them. Have any idea how much I owed? I would always kind of pay like a little more than the minimum, so I was like just staying above, to like just the top of my nose. That was it. And then I was so scared to know the truth that I wouldn't look at the totals. And when I finally looked at the totals and added them up and got clear and honest with myself, it was incredibly freeing, and it was far less scary than I thought it was going to be. So add everything up, know what you owe to whom, all of that. And then one of the exercises that I teach is to really come into a place of gratitude and acceptance for that debt. Because there's a concept, and I don't know who came up with this, but it's renaming bills invoices for blessings already received.
Oh, love that.
Yeah, it's great. So you have spent money on something that you've received. You've received that thing, whether it was a pair of shoes, whether it was a business seminar, whether it was some sort of key office equipment that you needed to grow, whether it was clothes, a vacation. I don't know what it was. And it was probably any number of combination of those things. It was for me, at least. And so one of the biggest things that I had to come into agreement with was, this debt has been a stepping stone for me to get where I need to go. And I had to stop beating myself up for it and finding myself wrong, because the more I beat myself up for it and the more I felt bad about it, the less I felt motivated to take action, because I just felt bad. Like, I just couldn't get the energy to actually move forward. And so I began to really forgive myself and realize, I'm not, because I have credit card debt doesn't make me a bad person. And in fact, I recommend taking out your credit card statements and looking at, okay, I received this item, and relive the moment when you enjoyed that item, because really you just have this invoice for a blessing you've already received, and so you just have an outstanding invoice. You just have to give the value back for the value you've received, and that's okay. You just need to give that value back.
What I love that you've done, what you've said so far, with typical financial advice is you got to get, 0% balance transfer credit cards, and then you got to do this. The first two nuggets of wisdom that you've shared with us so far has nothing to do with what you have to do. It really, Kate, I am right there with you. See, I didn't get credit card bills for a reason, because I didn't want it. I did online, and then I would delete that sucker from my inbox. And it wasn't until I had a conversation with my dad, and he said to me, we're going to sit, we're going to map it out on an Excel spreadsheet. And we looked at I had a total of 5 credit cards. I had about $40,000 debt. I felt sick, and it's that feeling that most people don't want to be with. It's that powerless, oh my God, I created this. How the hell am I going to get out of it? But I love what you said, number one, about being honest, keeping it real with yourself about it, not judging yourself, because it's so easy to go to that place, make yourself wrong, and then there's no actual creativity that can flow, that you could even think of other ways to kind of pay it off. But I got to tell you, as excruciatingly nauseating that it was that day, I'd never felt more clear in my life, because I knew what I was going to do, how I was going to pay it off. And the second thing that I love what you're saying is really having gratitude, because guess what? At the end of the day, you spent that money. You received something for it, right? Whether it was a pair of shoes, or it was for a business expense, or it was a Starbucks, you got something for it. So instead of making it wrong, feeling grateful for it, because guess what? You just kind of enjoyed yourself in that moment. So why beat yourself up? Great. So thank you, because I love it, guys, because this, what Kate's really speaking about here is the mindset. Your relationship to money, has a lot less to do with the spending. It has nothing to do with the behavior. Rather, your behavior is just an expression of your mindset. So keep going, Kate. Love it. Keep going.
Exactly. So then I love this thing that Adam Baker talks about. Adam Baker, well, now his wife Courtney has taken it over, but he writes a blog or wrote a blog called Man versus Debt. And so if you check out manversusdebt.com, his philosophy about debt was most people will say, okay, we'll pay off the card with the highest APR first, right? Because you're paying the most interest on that one, and so you should get that one gone first so that you save money. What Adam said, which I love, is that that method does not take into account the emotional weight of debt. And so instead, the way we should order the number the order we pay them off in is which debt, and it may not even be a credit card, it might be a debt to a family member or whatever, which one is weighing on us emotionally the most, because that one is having a greater impact. And it doesn't matter if you spend a few more $100s long term, you will actually be happier in the process of getting this debt paid off if you get paid off the one first that makes you feel the worst.
So is it possible that the one that weighs you down, though, is the one with the higher APR? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Those two could be the same thing.
Because that killed me, Kate. That killed me.
If you only have like credit cards, right? If your only debt is credit cards,
Okay.
then very well the one with the highest APR is probably going to be weighing on you emotionally the most. But like if you have a few credit cards and then you owe your mom money, and then you've got some IRS debt, and then you've got one that you're not even dealing with, and you've got a creditor calling you all the time that you're ignoring, it might be that every time you talk to your mom on the phone, you're plagued with guilt, even though there's not even an interest rate on that one. Pay off the one with your mom first, because that will free up all of this emotional energy and all of this just creative energy to help you move forward and come up with new ways of making income and coming up with creative ways that feel abundant to decrease your expenses so that you increase that monthly financial cushion and you have more money to put towards it. But the reality is, like, I remember the moment I paid off all my debt, and I was sitting at my mom's kitchen table, the table where I grew up, and I paid it all off. I sent the last thing, and it was like a $7,000 payment to American Express.
Oh, screw American Express. Sorry, love you guys, but no.
I'm actually a very happy American Express customer. So I sent off that final payment, and I was like, it felt awesome. But can I really say that I'm a happier person, like, for the years that I spent debt-free versus the years I was in debt? Not really.
Yeah, yeah.
I think everything in life, we have this idea that, like, I'll get to start living my life when I'm debt-free.
Yes.
I lose 10 pounds, or when I fall in love, or have a baby, or whatever. But, like, your life is happening now. So don't go into deprivation. That's the other thing. So many people will go into deprivation around getting their debt paid off, and they're like, oh, I'm not going to eat out for 2 years until I pay it off. I'm not going to let myself buy a single unnecessary thing. And then you're like living like a nun or a monk for that time, and that's 2 years of your life that are gone. You don't do that either.
You know what? Okay, and by the way, okay, I do love American Express. I'm just saying, we're just on hiatus right now. I love them. They've taken care of me. So you get it. But I love what you just said because, and clearly I'm very close to my father because I've learned so much from him. And he said to me, he goes, if you can still learn to be happy and nurture your relationship with your husband and not let this debt loom over you and not be miserable throughout the debt, he goes, you're going to pay off your debt faster. And I didn't get it at the time. He hit the nail, I'm telling you, because it was like, I mean, not even gonna lie, for 6 months, miserable, right? Wouldn't get coffee outside. My husband would say, babe, let's go out for dinner. No, babe, we can't. I'm gonna cook at home. We'd go, the times that we would go out to eat, we'd be eating something, like we'd be at a vegan restaurant. I'd be like, I can learn to make this at home. And my husband's like, babe, so you don't have to make it at home. We're eating it because like my whole guilt, the whole messaging that I received as a kid growing up about money. So I love that you're saying that even, yes, it sucks that you're in debt. It doesn't actually make the process better if you're going to be living in scarcity, punishing yourself essentially in the process. So let me ask you this. What kind of messages did you receive as a child about money? Because let me preface it with, Kate, a lot of the work that I do with people is around the programs that we've been trained to believe, the brainwashing by society, by our parents, by whoever, about how things ought to be. Do you mind sharing, what were the messages that you received from your parents about money?
talked about money growing up.
Oh, interesting.
So I knew my parents thought about it, like behind closed doors. Um, but, and then my dad was always trying to teach me and my sister the value of a dollar. So he would want us to earn our allowance by doing X, Y, and Z. But then my mom would like give us 20s, without anything. So it was a very conflicting messages between my parents. My mom was totally like abundance mentality, if you believe it, you will have it, you will attract it. My dad is much more traditional, like, oh, that money has already been spent and you have to be conservative and you have to dial it down. So it's kind of like this constant tension between the two philosophies, and I've come to be somewhere in the middle. So I'm really grateful for both perspectives, and they have both served me incredibly, incredibly well. But mostly, I have to say the message that I got was, they were very supportive of all my little entrepreneurial ventures growing up, and my babysitting business and my pet sitting business and all the different things that I would do. And so I think first and foremost, I got a lot of support from them, at least in terms of being a self-starter. And that was great. I'm grateful for that.
I'm glad that you shared that you received multiple messages, because I know a lot of people grow up that way. My parents born and raised in India, and I don't know if you've ever been to India, but yeah, you got to get there, Kate. Half our population lives on the street. My heart always belongs in India. I was just watching Monsoon Wedding with my husband yesterday, and I started crying because I'm like, the traffic, the pollution, the poverty, yet everybody has a smile on their face. And we got to go back this year. But, I would go to India every year as a kid, still go since I was 2 years old. People living off the street, living on the street, not having, not even a place to go to the bathroom. So I was raised with a lot of guilt, right? So I didn't live that way. When I came back to America, I was born and raised in New York. We had financial abundance also. So I was raised with a lot of, I feel bad because I have so much. And when I go to India, people have so little. Now, I was only gauging it based on their dollar value. But if you look at happiness, who was happier? It were the people in India. I mean, honestly, I would straight up say that. So, for people who, and my father was very similar to your mother, his whole mentality was, there's plenty of it. God has blessed us. There's always more. You don't have to hoard it. You know what I mean? It's just paper. It's the more value that you contribute, you'll get more. So just focus on the value. And that's the mentality that I've now adopted. But how you said you got two messages, and now you have kind of been in the middle. You have a fine blend of both, which you're grateful for. Absolutely, because you were able to find your way and how you wanted to relate to money. What would you recommend for people who grew up with kind of conflicting messages? Neither one actually serves them because they're on opposite poles. How do you get to that middle where it works for you?
So my simple answer to this is that we just have to grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's that moment when you realize, like, oh, my parents don't know what they're doing either, and nobody does. And so it's just the moment when we realize everybody's a human being, nobody really knows what's going on. You just have to do the best you can, and the best that we can is to decide for ourselves and to thank our parents for what they've given us and to take what serves and to leave the rest, because they're just bumbling around the planet like everyone else. And I think we put our parents on a pedestal, or at least I'll speak for myself. I put my parents on a pedestal thinking, they're very successful. Like, they
yes.
put shit together, So
yeah.
I was like, oh, we must know everything. And then as I got into my mid-20s, and probably a little earlier than that, but really it hit home in my mid-20s, I was like, oh, man.
They don't know Jack. No, I'm just kidding.
Like, I'm screwed. If my parents don't know what they're doing, like, who could possibly?
Yeah.
And I realized nobody. And that's okay. And that gives us that really fertile ground to be creative and to make it up. Because there's no right way, there's no set of rules. I'm not going to give you the 7-step guaranteed plan to pay off your debt in 3 months. Like, there isn't one. And the way that I did it isn't going to be the way that you're going to do it. But some of the same principles can apply no matter what.
So, guys, this is great stuff. And if you want to take Kate's free quiz about understanding your relationship with money and what it says about you. Kate, I haven't taken your free quiz yet, but I'm going to. I should have probably done that, but I'm definitely going to take it. Guys, head on over to katenorthrup.com. I'll be posting it on the blog, so you're totally good with that. Kate, I have 2 more questions for you, okay? So many of my viewers primarily are women. And from just the research that I've done, the surveys that I've sent out to my list about their relationship with money, there's a lot of guilt, okay? And I think it comes with being a woman. I know that sounds like an absolute blanket statement, but there is some guilt with women especially wanting to spend money on themselves, investing in themselves. Do you come across that a lot?
Totally. I feel like there's two types of people. There's like savers and there's scrimpers.
Scrimpers.
Savers and scrimpers. I have to say, and I'm sorry, no, those are two of the same thing.
Yeah.
There's savers and scrimpers, and then there's spenders. The spenders and scrimpers.
Okay. Okay.
I am a spender. So I'm just going to be full disclosure. I don't have as much insight around the guilt around spending on ourselves because I will just spend on myself and then get into debt. Like that's what happens. However,
There's a however.
having worked with people around this, what I can say is, as women, we tend to be nurturers and we tend to really want to care for and take care of other people, and that's something that I have 100% of the time. We're programmed to be like, what do they need first instead of what do I need first? What do they need first? Let me take care of it. And I do know that we are not able to take care of others if we haven't taken care of ourselves because we're not the best version of ourselves. And so my whole philosophy around creating financial freedom is so that we can show up more fully on the planet, really for other people. I mean, yesterday when I was hanging out with little baby Jack, like I was there with him, and I'm not saying I was like some amazing version of myself, but like I was 100% there, and that's what I can give.
Yes.
And so, in order, now, taking care of ourselves does not have to be expensive. I will say that.
Yes.
It's free. Sleep is free. Drinking water is free. Exercising is free.
Air is free, sunshine.
Taking deep breaths is free. Vitamin D from the sunshine. All those things are free, and those are amazing ways to take care of yourself. So whether it's actually spending money on yourself or just spending time on yourself, those are really two sides of the same coin. It's to really know that 5 minutes invested in yourself, or 10 minutes, or $5 invested in like that frou-frou drink at Starbucks because you just really want to sit down and enjoy something nice through a straw.
Yes.
That will be multiplied in your ability to show up, to do your best work in the world, to be creative, to be a good listener, to have the best ideas. Like when we're sleep deprived, for example, we're not functioning optimally, and so many people like kind of get off on, oh well, I only need 5 hours of sleep a day. I'm like, really? Well, talk to me after you get 8 hours of sleep a day.
Yeah.
Weeks, and then let's see what you're actually able to create in the world. Because when we don't sleep, we're actually operating like you're less equipped to operate like heavy machinery when you're sleep deprived than you are when you're drunk. It's actually that.
Wow.
That's the same thing when we don't care for ourselves. We are not equipped to be caring for other people when we are not caring for ourselves. It's like driving drunk, I guess.
No, that's a great analogy, and an analogy that makes me think of my mentor, Lisa Nichols, who's in the movie The Secret, talks about serving from a overflowing cup, right? So if you have a cup and a saucer, a lot of women serve from like the bottom of the cup. They're like, I got a little drop left. And she always talks about filling up your cup, and that's what you give to yourself. And everything else that overflows, that's what you give to everybody else. Yeah, I always get people, they're like, yeah, man, I only have like 4 hours of sleep. I'm like, that sucks, and you need to hit the sack ASAP.
Proud of that, and don't be spreading that around because it tells other people that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Keep that under wraps and go to bed.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself. So I do want to, I love the title of your book, guys. It's coming out September 2013.
This is what it's going to look like.
Oh my God, look at the little piggy bank with the little heart.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I would sleep with that every night. I would just sleep like, that's my book, that's my pillow. That's beautiful. So Kate, that's exactly what I want to ask you. For people who do not, so guys, once again, Kate's first book, I'm sure it's going to be the first of many, Through Hay House, is coming out in September 2013. I'm actually going to be having Kate back on here again because I wanted to go a little bit more in depth with her book. I can't wait to get my hands on it, and you guys too. So her first book, once again, is called Money, A Love Story, Untangling Your Financial Woes, Creating the Life That You Really Want, and Living Your Purpose. So Kate, last question for you. For people who do not have a love story with money, in fact, they have a fear-based, love-hate relationship, just like two tidbits, two golden nuggets. How do you start to create, how do you start to have and develop your love story with money? How do my viewers do that?
So first of all, you have to know what money actually is and what it isn't.
Okay.
So money doesn't actually exist. We made it up as human beings
Yes.
as a way to exchange value for value. And so you have to know if you want to attract more money, save more money, become a better money manager, be able to give more money more generously. Um, you need to start with valuing yourself more because we receive value in exchange for giving value, and we don't give very good value if we're not valuing ourselves. It's back to that self-care conversation, right?
Yes.
Like what we're giving out isn't any good if we're not filling ourselves. And so looking for ways that you are valuable and noticing the ways you value yourself, like how do you show up and give value in the world. And so actually just writing those down in a journal at the end of the day is a great way to go. Just 3 things that are different from the day before and that are unique. So I might write down, I value that I laugh easily. I just do. I'm like the easiest target at a comedy club. I will laugh at anything. So I think that's a fun thing about me. So I might write that down in my journal. But tomorrow I will write down something else that's different from that. So you don't want to keep repeating the things because you want to create an abundant, infinite number of ways that you add value in the world, things that you love about yourself. And that will take practice. And that will feel really uncomfortable at the beginning.
Of course, because most people aren't used to acknowledging their strengths and the things that are valuable. We're so used to kind of shitting on ourselves. So that's a great first step. Journaling your unique value, basically, your unique value.
Noticing your value, because what we put our attention on grows. And so putting your attention on the ways that you add value to the world will increase your awareness of it, and it will also command that other people value you for that as well. Because how can you expect somebody else to see your value if you're not seeing it first? Like they can't. So that's number 1. And then number 2, one of my favorite ways to be more loving towards my money is when I'm actually paying for something, I will make sure that when I'm given the change back, a lot of times we pay with plastic, so it doesn't count, but when you're paying with cash, I will make sure to take a moment, I slow down, I line up all the bills in numerical order in my wallet with all the presidents facing me, and so the 1s are front, and the 5s, and then the 10s, and then the 20s, and usually I don't have higher than 20s.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do,
Yeah.
And all and no wrinkles, like they're all just in my wallet flat, and it is my way of giving my money a safe place to land and letting it know I care for you, I value you, I'm going to make sure you're all organized here. And then it also makes the experience of going to pay for something that much more pleasurable because I know where everything is and it's all organized and clean for me. So that's something that you can just do on a daily basis. It's like a meditation. And I've had to force myself to slow down because, you're like, oh, the next person's in line behind you. And you're like, oh, I'll just crumple it up and I'll do it later. No. That's not respectful to your money, and therefore it's not respectful to you because you earned that money with something you gave of value to the world. So if you're like then crumpling up your money and losing the check and whatever, you're basically devaluing yourself because that money that you earned is a representation of the value that you gave.
So first of all, Kate, what I love is that the first thing that you've told us to do is basically value ourselves, right? The second thing is valuing money, and I'm sure you know this in the Hindu way of life. We worship the goddess of wealth, goddess Lakshmi. In fact, we have these crazy ass superstitions. Like I'll tell you one. At night, by the way, at nighttime, all the lights need to be on because goddess Lakshmi is going to be entering our home. We also don't laugh. We don't cut our hair or cut our nails at night because it's considered dirty and we don't want to deter goddess Lakshmi. I'm going to send you a picture. Of goddess Lakshmi. You put that right in your wallet.
I love goddess Lakshmi. I am familiar with her, but please send me a picture.
Yeah, no, I absolutely will. And where my husband's from, he's Gujarati, so he's from the eastern part of India. They worship goddess Lakshmi. We worship wealth, and like you said, not this dollar bill because it's all made up. We worship what it represents, which is value, which is hard work, which is service. And it really pisses me off when I see how people physically treat money. So I really love that you take out the crumples, that you line it up, because I've seen people toss money, like at a lot of, from different parts of India, especially in the north. and no disrespect, and it's totally their culture, you know, during the weddings, they actually throw money. They actually throw it as a celebration. That does something for me. I don't really like that because I'm like, why are you just throwing the money? It's just, you know, that could just be my thing with it. But I love, guys, if you listen to what Kate's saying, right, what I love is that she's not like, go get this credit card and then go get that credit card. And I'm sure you know all this stuff, Kate, already because you've gone through it. But guys, what it really boils down to is valuing yourself and valuing money. And when we talk about this thing called money, is really looking at what is the value that you contribute and how can you be of service, because that's all that money is. It's a tool of trade. It's a value transaction. So Kate, you're awesome, okay? Yes, and I'm definitely going to send you that picture of Goddess Lakshmi. You put that right in your wallet. Yes. I want to say thank you for being on, and I can't wait to have you again in September when your book comes out. Guys, once again, I'm going to head over to her website at katenorthrup.com. I should have done that. I'm like, why didn't I do that? Take her free quiz to really find out what your relationship with money says about you. Kate has a lot of great information. I love the way you write, Kate. I mean, if you're talking, guys, if we're talking about keeping it real, Kate keeps it real about everything, not just money, but just how you show up in the world, your value, how you relate to yourself. So, guys, if you want more free weekly Keeping It Real videos, you know where to go. Just go to vasavikumar.com and sign up there. Kate, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And have a great, beautiful day. And I'll talk to you offline so I can send you that photo.
Okay, awesome.
Bye, Kate.